Hello, this is an update on the Multiboxer. So I've done an awful lot of rewriting. I've converted an awful lot of things to const expr. I've moved to unit pointers away from the old code that used auto pointer. I've removed some shared pointers and done proper move semantics to move things around properly. I've also completely reworked the window monitoring, the config, and the XML classes. So underneath the XML, still using wrapped XML, it then loads it into my own bespoke constructs so I can iterate things more easily. Interestingly, for all the iteration stuff, it's become ranged for loops. If I zoom in here, you can see there's a ranged for loop now over my items, rather than previously where I allocated an iterator and manually iterated myself. You can see some move semantics done in here. The saving of window positions is now done only when a change has occurred. It was happening all the time before. It was really inefficient. That happens every second. So you change a window, and it saves the position for you. Again, ranged for loops are all in here now. There's now new saving file stuff. It's the same old XML constructor things that I was always using before. This is my XML construct class that wraps wrapped XML for me. I always prefer XML to JSON or any other formats because it's properly extensible. It's the clues in the name, extensible markup language. If a node is missing, then it's just a different version of the file as far as I'm concerned. If there's a new unexpected node there, well, it's a new version of the file. I don't care. Whereas I found that JSON parsing can actually drop on its bum an awful lot, and I don't like it. That isn't to say it isn't bad. In all cases, it can be quite okay, but again, you need to use lots of support. Boost B-tree is a good example where you're using a property tree rather, not B-tree, so using a property tree to do things. But monitoring of window changes are all now done in the window monitor class, which now has its guts in here. This was all in main before, so basically it checks each window that we've registered with it and asks for its rectangle. If the rectangle is different to the current rectangle, it updates the positions, and then we call save every second. So that's saving the file. The file looks like this. So this is just XML with the X, Y, width and height of each client. Why are there 4 clients? Well, we could delete them now. We don't. Previously, you were required to have one of these files. You don't know; it can be blank. But there's 4 windows because there are 4 accounts. These are the 4 accounts I'm loading with. I could put anything in here. If I copied this and made a 5th, which I'll do in a second, it would. And config is now taking over from what was profile before. Profile is a phrase I would have linked to my prior role an awful lot. We use profile a lot. But yeah, so what does it do? Well, it doesn't actually do anything. So what the main function now does is we check that we've got a valid runtime path. It checks for certain parts of the configuration that we know we have to have a config, and loads said config, and then checks the WoW path. This is actually just outputting for me. These need to go away. Then we start the Windows monitor. That's a separate thread, so we're taking a thread doing that. I'm thinking actually that what I want to do is have a set of monitors, so functions to monitor the game child processes that we're hosting, another child process to monitor the local key state, and I'd like them all to be on one thread. And so what I'd like to do is actually have one monitor to which you send callables, and that callable be fixed, that thing be fixed to one core, and then it run through each registered callable. So that's something I'm thinking of looking at, to move this data into this thread into its own thing. So we create the thread, as you just saw in the start thread function right there. So Boxer main then does what? Well, it gets each client, so we load the accounts, which is loading the accounts file, this file here, and for each account we start a copy of the client. We actually start the client in the mode. We've gone with a new client type enum, so I've swapped all the enums to classes. So these are warrior, rogue, hunter, mage, priest, warlock, druid, shaman. They are mapped to a set of strings, which is all now done at compile time, or it's static instantiation really, because I can't const export all of this. I will eventually const export all of this. We don't need all these strings. What we could do is const export these away as the hash of the string, and then when things are loaded we could just, you know, check the hash of the string as the same hash. I wanted to make it readable right now, so I've stuck with the actual string, but for each one we start it and push the client onto the list of clients we're hosting, and then we add that window to the window monitor, so we start to look where the window is. Now in adding, previously we had two steps of creating the window. Created the window, waited for input, which is what it does. So create a game host process actually calls to start the game host process, and what it does is it waits for input idle, and then it finds the main window and stores the window. Once it's stored it, we add it to the window monitor, and in adding it we actually now check if we've got a position. If not, we create the positions, and then if we have enough positions we actually use the current one. We use the position that we had saved for this index window. So the first window we open will always be wherever the first window we open is positioned, and so on and so forth. This is pretty much what was shown way back when in the Scarlet Run video, you'll see. But I've now cleaned it all up, sorted it all out. This is a lot simpler for me to read, and the great thing is that we can pause. This is actually created in paused mode. This needs to be an enum, a strong type enum that says paused or something, and then you unpause it to start saving where things are. So if I fire it up now, we will actually start one client for each of these accounts. You can see they've got valid types on them. If they haven't, they crash, or I just accept. I'm not doing any error handling right now. I'm not doing any logging. There's no logger built into this. It just does its thing. So we're starting the World of Warcraft clients. There's the first. There's a second and it moved. There's a third and it moved. And there's the fourth. Okay. And if we move these around, so if I resize that one and resize this one, and just shuffle them, move the fourth one to there, and then move the second one over there, we'll know it gets saved in it after a second. So we'll kill the client, actually kill all of these. This is something I need to make it do actually. I need to make it send quit when I exit, but I haven't got a valid run yet. It just runs forever. We just unpause the monitor and we just sit in a loop. So now we start the same 4 clients, and you see it's tinier, shifted over there, shifted down there. There you go. That's where I'm at. I've obviously got all the other code that I'm going to work on. I'm going to make things log on themselves in a moment. So we've got the initial things. Each account that I have is going to have its own initial character that will be selected. So when I've put in the XML Warlock, that account will have to have a character at the top of the list that is a Warlock. I'm not going to be doing anything else other than making it click on the screen at a certain position. So when you log on and click the top right character position. These are all actions that I'll be adding. The interesting thing to me is that 90% of these exist, or certainly the initial ones that I need. The bits that are missing is that it's not scriptable. They're all built into this class. Look, so I've built in perform DPS and done switch statements in here. What I need to do is make this all script. This needs to be loaded from some instruction file, and I need to have some key that I can press that will, you know, do these things. So, for example, performing a DPS attack for a Warlock or a Mage is select the leader, assist the leader, select bar 1, press 49, and I've said that that is Shadow Bolt. This all needs to be scripted and set up. I gotta go. Phone's ringing. Bye bye.